Hi, my name's Bobuq Sayed. I'm the author of No God But Us, a novel that is forthcoming in May 2026. It's a novel that I wrote sort of based on frustrations I was having with media and discourse around the 2015 so-called migrant crisis, European migrant crisis, especially with regard to work that I was doing with queer and trans refugees and asylum seekers, because I felt like a lot of the predominant narratives of the figure of the asylum seeker and the migrant were very steeped in presumed heterosexuality, presumed cisgender, and just very like homogenous and homogenizing because they were coming from very stigmatizing, criminalizing, and flattening assumptions and stereotypes about who the migrant is, why the migrant is coming, and like the threat they pose to the West, which was not my experience, right? Working with queer and trans asylum seekers and refugees, and being a queer child of Afghan refugees myself. I wanted to sort of push back on that narrative, but do so in a way that sort of complicates it, right? So I'm not telling the heroic, grand stories of the ensemble of queer and trans people who are caught in Istanbul in and around 2015, sort of as the borders to Europe kind of like shut down, and like Fortress Europe as we now know it sort of finds its infancy, but that like sort of tries to articulate some of the struggles and tensions and community that forms as those borders are closing, and also as sort of like global sympathy for the figure of the like undocumented migrant or the asylum seeker is beginning to shift, right? Even in America and Australia, though these aren't sort of necessarily the spotlight of the book, we can really like identify 2015 and sort of like great numbers of migrants from Swana, Southwest Asia and North Africa, fleeing violence from empire, right? Like fleeing wars and instability caused by the West, and trying to find freedom and access and opportunity in the West. So it's also a sort of like grappling with that sort of internal contradiction, right? The sense that like we are fleeing to the places where the guns are coming from, where the bullets are coming from. We're seeking sanctuary, and in some cases asking for sanctuary, applying this very tedious process of the UNHCR for asylum, for diplomatic status, and refugee status and resettlement from the sort of like the countries responsible for that displacement. So it's sort of based on my experience living in Istanbul. It's based on my experience working, and it's also sort of like based on research and fiction and imagination, and trying to like kind of complicate prevailing narratives. I grew up in libraries. I have so much love for the libraries that raised me. My parents worked a lot and didn't pick me up from school, and so I often had hours after school and on weekends where I was very much left to my own devices and went looking for knowledge and found it, and experience, and found it in the public libraries of my neighborhood. I just want to say thank you so much to the librarians, to the booksellers, to everyone who is committed to storytelling and to archiving knowledge and to sharing that with people for free, and insisting on queer stories, trans stories, immigrant stories, um, feminist stories, stories against empire, stories grappling with the complexity of the human experience, and that are also international stories, stories of border crossing, and that don't sort of reside neatly in sort of simple, digestible categories of good and evil, hero and villain, um, good behavior, bad behavior, because that isn't the reality of how we make decisions, and how we fall in love. So thank you so much.